Yeah. Shall we start now? Hello?
Yes, sir. Start.
Yeah. Thank you. Right. Uh, so in today's class, we will learn some of the primitive linear data structures called stacks and queues. Right. Probably we will see stacks today. Then in the next class we will go for the queues. Right. So this is the presentation outline of the this class. So first we will see what is stack and the basic operations that we can perform on stacks like pushing and popping, and how to implement this data structure. Okay. So in fact, any data structure can be implemented either by using arrays or by using linked list. That is a general way of implementing the data structures. So as you are not aware of linked list right now, and we are not going to discuss linked list here, linked list implementation of stacks, but we'll see the other alternative, that is arrays implementation of stacks. Okay, that we'll see. Okay, that is the agenda of the class, right? Now let us get into the definition. Okay, what is stack? Okay, stack is basically a primitive data structure. It has a lot of importance in computer science. Okay, almost all system applications will use stack. Okay, stack is the very fundamental data structure, fundamental linear data structure in computer science, right? So you have to have a good understanding of this to know more about the operating systems or something like. So when you move on through the higher classes, you will learn more about stacks and their importance and their significance in computer science. Okay, right? As you can see here, stack is basically, it is a list. Okay, as I told you earlier, what is list? List is nothing but sequence of elements juxtaposed, sequence of elements juxtaposed, and these elements must possess some relationship among them. Okay, as I have given that example, let us consider your roll numbers. Roll number 1 comes first, then roll number 2, then roll number 3, then roll number 4, then followed by roll number 5, like that, so on and so forth, right? So this is nothing but a list of roll numbers of, say, second year students. Okay, list of roll numbers of the second year students, or a list of items, we can say an ordered list, we can say, or unordered list. It could be anything. Okay, right? So list of elements or list of data juxtaposed is said to be an ordered list of data, or list, we can say. In simple terms, we call it as a list, right? So there should be some relationship among the list elements. Okay, for example, if you consider that roll number list, roll number 2 comes after roll number 1, roll number 3 comes after roll number 1 and 2, like that. So that is the relationship. Okay, you got my point, right? So here we are talking about restricted lists. Okay, we are putting some restriction, to the list, right? So what is that restriction? So that we will see, right? So basically, when it comes to stack, stack is basically a list. Okay, it is a linear list with the following restriction. Okay, so the restriction is that the insertions and deletions, okay, if you want to add anything to the list, must be done from the last end or from the one end only. Okay, right? You cannot add or delete items from the front. You can add only the items at the end of the list. Only appending is allowed. Okay, right? Inserting at the front is not allowed. Inserting at the back or at the rear end is only allowed. Okay, so if we impose such a restriction to the list, then it is called a stack, right? So what is stack? It is simply, in naive sense, I can say it is something like a container or a bowl. Okay, or a tin or a bin or something like that. Okay. So where the bottom end of the bin is closed and the top end is open. The top end is open. Okay. If you want to place something into the bin or into the container, what you have to do? You have to place it from the top only. Okay. And if you want to retrieve or if you want to delete the item, if you want to take out the item, what you have to do? Again, you have to do it from the top end only or the open end only. Okay. So what I mean to say here is stack is nothing but a list in which one end is closed, the other end is open. All the insertions and deletions are done from the top end only or the open end only. Okay. Such a restricted list is said to be a stack. Okay. Got my point? I hope you understand. I hope this is clear to everyone. The definition of stack.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So one thing I want to tell you here is that if you want to insert, say, suppose you have inserted the first item into the stack, then you have inserted one more item, then you have inserted one more item, then you have inserted one more item. Okay. So far I have inserted 4 items into the stack. Okay. After inserting 4 items, the item that you are going to retrieve first is the last one that you have inserted. Okay. You got my point? So the last one is the 4th item. Okay. That is exposed on the stack. Okay. First you have to remove the 4th item, then the 3rd item, then the 2nd item, then the 1st item. Then you will be exposed to the bottom of the stack. Okay. You will be exposed to the empty of the stack. Okay. Right. You got my point? So while inserting, the inserted items, I mean, obviously they goes into the stack. Okay. Right. So the latest added items will be appeared at the top of the stack. Okay. So they can be accessed. I mean, somebody is trying to join. Okay. Yeah, admitted. One more. Okay. So the least recently added items will be exposed first. Okay. So that is the reason why the stacks are often called as LIFO. Okay. So generally they are called as, say, let me use here, LIFO. So this is the acronym we generally use to describe the stack data structure. Okay. LIFO, LIFO. Last in, first out. Okay. LIFO, it is abbreviated like this: last in, first out. Okay. The elements which are inserted most recently, last in, first out. Okay. First out. Right. Last in, first out. LIFO. Okay. Whenever somebody asks you about stack, first you have to, it is a data structure which is commonly known as LIFO, last in, first out data structure. Okay. The elements which are entered least, the elements which are added to the list, recently added elements will be exposed first or be taken out first. Okay. Right. LIFO data structure. So the fundamental operations that we can perform on stacks are called push and pop. Okay, as you can see here, push and pop. These are the 2 fundamental operations that we can perform on stacks. Push means it is equivalent to insert. Okay, inserting an element into the stack. Okay. Pop means delete the most recently inserted element. Okay. So what I mean to say here is we can delete only the top element. Okay. Only the top few elements or something like that. Okay, then only the bottom elements or the elements which are next to that the top element will be exposed. Okay, so you cannot retrieve the first firstly inserted element until you remove the top elements. Okay, right? So here these are the fundamental operations. Push operation will give you a functionality to insert a new element into the stack. Okay, and pop operation deletes the most recently inserted element. Okay, and top, another operation called top examines the most recently inserted element. Okay, top of the stack. Say you want to know the top of the stack element. Okay, this particular function will give you the current top of the stack. Current top of the stack. Okay, is it clear up to now?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Anybody is having any doubt regarding this?
Applications, sir?
Yes, we will come to that part also. Right. Yeah, in the later slides we'll see. Right. Okay. Let me ask you a small question here. So it's basically a mathematical thing. Say if you're asked to compute this 0 to the power of n followed by 1 to the power of n, okay, where n greater than or equals to 1. Okay, let me give you a mathematical problem, okay, in which some number of zeros, okay, some number of zeros followed by the same number of ones, the same number of ones. Okay, you got my point? Some number of zeros followed by the same number of ones. You need to check. Okay, so if your input is say 0 0 followed by 1 1 1, this is not the correct or the valid one. Okay, why? Because 2 zeros are followed by 3 ones. Okay, so if it is 0 0, 2 zeros followed by 2 ones, then it is okay. It is as per this long ways. It is valid string. Okay, so how to check that? How to check that? So can you write a program for that? Can you write a C program which can check some number of zeros followed by the same number of ones? General problem. Okay, which can take any legal input in that particular sequence, and it has to say whether it is a correct one or not. So suppose if you give 3 zeros followed by 4 ones, it should say it is wrong. Okay, if you give 4 ones followed by 3 zeros, it should say it is wrong. Okay, if you give the valid sequence 3 zeros followed by 3 ones, then it is okay. It's a valid string or something like that. Can you solve such thing? I mean, can any guess how to solve this problem? Anybody, any guess?
We can count the number of zeros, and if that equal to one once, we can check those.
Yes.
So we can input it as a string, and we can take the sequence as a string, sir.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. Yeah, absolutely. So what he said is somewhat correct, but here, say suppose let us assume a situation in which infinite number of zeros followed by infinite number of ones. Okay, if that is the case, how to compute that? Say 1000 zeros followed by 1000 ones. Yeah, sure. This kind of problems. So basically, this kind of problems can be solved by using stacks. Okay. So in stacks, what we'll do is whenever you encounter a zero in your input, we'll push them onto the stack. Okay, all the zeros are inserted into the stack. Whenever the input is exposed to 1, whenever you read 1, for each and every one will pop up one digit from the, I mean 1 0 from the stack. Okay, so counter 0, right? So after completely processing your input, if your stack is empty, that is an indication that the same number of zeros followed by, I mean some number of zeros followed by the same number of ones. Okay, so suppose, let me take this one. Let me take this example. Clear this once. Yeah. So let us assume this is your stack. Okay. Okay. So I want to check whether this particular string 0 0 followed by 1 1. Okay. Whether it is a correct string, whether it is in the format of 0 to the power of n followed by 1 to the power of n or not. Okay. So this is my problem, right? Now see how I am going to conquer this. See, so whenever you read a 0, insert it onto the stack. So the first 0, so there is still some people are coming. Yes. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. So this is my stack. Let us assume this is your stack. The bottom end is closed. So initially the stack is empty. This is the bottom end. Okay. So there were no elements. So there are no elements in the stack initially. The stack is empty. So this particular arrow represents the bottom of the stack. Okay, initially it is empty. Now let me take this string 0 0 followed by 3 ones. Okay. So how I am going to solve this problem is by using stack. It's pretty simple. So what I'm going to do here is whenever I encounter a 0, I will insert that onto the stack. Okay. Whenever there is a 0, please push it onto the stack. Okay. So next we have 0, insert it onto the stack. Whenever you encounter a 1, okay, you have to pop up 1 0, the top 0 from the stack. Okay, for each one you have to pop 1 0. Again we have 1 here, but if you look at the current top of the stack, okay, the current top of the stack, so we have no zeros. Okay, we don't have any zeros on the stack, right? So that means for this one there is no counter 0. Okay, so that means this is an error. This is an error, or we can say this is an invalid string. Okay, right? So if it is 2 zeros followed by 2 ones, then we can say after completely processing the string, if the stack is empty, then we can say so we are done. Like 2 zeros followed by 2 ones is a valid string, right? Okay. So this is one application. The another application is generally in our programs, like in C or C++, we'll use something called, sorry, this is not. Okay, there is some problem with this. Yeah. get this. Yes. Wait a minute. Okay, right? So in general, what happens is, like when we write programs in C or C++ or Java, they will use some delimiters, like your, I mean, the body of the program must be enclosed between curly braces, okay, or the compound statement must be enclosed between curly braces, okay. Or say suppose whenever you define a function, we'll use this notation, no, function name followed by open brace followed by list of parameters followed by close brace, okay, followed by body of the function enclosed in parentheses, okay. So what I mean to say here is, this is almost similar to this, the problem that we just I mean discussed, that is 0 power n followed by 1 power n, okay. So here you need to balance these symbols. So there should be, say suppose you have opened two open parentheses, then you have to use two close parentheses, then only it is said to be syntactically correct, okay. So suppose in the function definition, if you use the open parentheses, but if you forget to use this close parentheses, then you will get a syntax error. It is syntactically wrong, okay. So this is one such application of the stack, okay. By using stacks, you can balance the symbols. Symbol balancing can be done by using stacks, okay. That is another application, right? And coming to the other one, so we have several applications in computer science, right? Stacks, like I think you might have heard about recursive function calls. Recursion, what is recursion? Can somebody tell me what
A
is
function
recursion?
calling itself.
Yeah, a function. Yeah, a function calls itself is called recursion. Okay. So basically in recursion, what happens is the recursive calls are evaluated by using stacks only. Okay. Without stacks, we can't do anything. So we can't process the recursive calls. Okay. So here, what happens is, say suppose, let me take that one. I mean the factorial function. So usually we'll write something like this: fact of 4, fact of say n is computed in terms of what?
N into
Yeah.
Written n into fact n minus 1.
Yes, you're correct.
If n equal to 1.
Yeah, that is base case. Okay, return. So what you said is correct. Return n into fact of n minus 1. Fact of n minus 1. So this is the iterative case. Okay, right? So what I mean to say here is the factorial of n is computed in terms of that number into the factorial of that number minus 1. So suppose if the factorial of, if you call factorial of 4 fact of 4, then it is computed in terms of 4 into factorial of 3. Okay. Then again that recursive call factorial of 3 is 3 into factorial of 2. Then again the factorial of 2 will be called, okay, factorial, the same function with a different parameter. Now the parameter that we are giving is 2, okay. Then again it will be called with 1. I mean 2 into 2 minus 1, that is 1. Factorial of 1 is the base case, that is it will return 1. Okay, so that means if you observe here, they will be processed like this. So what is the first call? The first call is fact of 4, f of 4. Okay, so the first call will be inserted into the stack, onto the stack. Okay, so the first call is not first, it is evaluated first. Okay, the last call will be evaluated first. What is the last call here? Fact of 1. Fact of 1 will be evaluated first. Then fact of 2. Then fact of 3. Then only we are exposed to fact of 4. Finally, we are getting the fact of 4 value, right? So this is how it is evaluated by using stacks. Fact of 4 is inserted onto the stack. On top of it, we will have fact of 3. Okay, the next call. On top of it, we'll be having, say, the next call, that is fact of 2. Then the fact of 1, f of 1. Okay, right? Now you can see most recently added call is f1. Okay, so if you observe here, if you observe the stack contents, now f of 1 is the exposed one, that means the top one. Okay, only the top one will be performed first. So if you want to delete any elements from the stack, only the top elements will be deleted first. Okay, so that is why it is LIFO, right? Last in, first out. Okay, so if you observe here, fact of 1 is nothing but will return 1. No, fact of 0 or fact of 1 is return 1. Okay, else we go to this iterative part, right? So fact of 1 will return what? It will return 1. Okay, so that is used here. Fact of 2, so we'll pop off fact of 1. After evaluating this value, we'll delete this. Okay, so this will return a value to f of 2. Okay, now f of 2 will be computed like this, say 2 into 1. So after computing this value, this will be removed from the stack. Okay, now we are getting 2 here. So that value is passed to f of 3. Now f of 3 is exposed. Okay, now so we'll have 3 into the previous value, that is 2. Okay, so we are getting 6, right? Now this is this is removed from the stack. So far we have done up to f3. Now 6 is passed to f4. Now 4 into n value is 4. 4 into f of 3 is 6. That is 6. Okay, after computing this value, that is 4 into 6, 24. It will pop up from the stack. Okay, now the final value is 24. After getting the final value, the stack is empty. Okay, there are we left with no other function to carry out. Okay, the stack is empty now. So that is an indication that we are done. Okay, so this is how we'll evaluate the recursive calls by using stacks. Okay, without stacks we cannot evaluate the recursion. Okay, or we cannot do the recursion. We cannot implement the recursion without stack. Right? I hope you understand the concept. Is it okay? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask now. So there are so many applications of stacks. Okay. Stacks are everywhere in computer science. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you can ask now. There are plenty of applications: symbol balancing, infix to postfix conversion, postfix evolution. Okay. Those things we will see in the subsequent slides also. Okay. Basically, stack is a LIFO, last in first out data structure. The fundamental operations that we can perform on stacks are push, pop, and top. Okay. So yeah, these are the examples of the stacks. A stack of books or a box of tennis balls. Like if you take shuttle, what do you call that? shuttle box or something like that. So you can pick only the top one. Okay, the top one exposed. The top one is the one exposed. So you have to pick the top one. If you want to access the, the balls inside the box, first you have to remove the top one, then remove the next top one, like that. Okay. So in buffet system, generally, whenever you go to the restaurant for buffet or something like, whenever you go to the functions, stack of plates, right? So here is an example for something called towers of honor. Okay, stack of rings or discs, stack of chairs. Okay, trains in a railway or yard, goods in a cargo, or LIFO. Okay, last in first. These are some of the examples. So stacks are less flexible, but are more efficient and easy to implement. Stacks are known as LIFO, last in first out list. The last element inserted will be the first to be retrieved, or will be the first to be deleted, or will be the first to be processed. So in computer terminology, we can say it is the first one which is to be processed. Okay, just like we have seen, F1 will be processed first, no, then F2, then F3, then F4. Okay, so F1 is the last recently so last element inserted into the stack and will be processed first. Okay, so as I told you earlier, the primary operations that we can perform on stacks are push and pop. Okay, so push is nothing but adding an element to the top of the stack. Initially, so there is an empty stack. Okay, so there is an empty stack. Initially, we'll take an index pointer called top. Okay, top initially points to the bottom of the stack. Okay, whenever top points to the bottom of the stack, that is an indication that the stack is empty. Okay, so while inserting an element, what we'll do, whenever you add an element, we'll increment the top. Okay, so that it points to the newly inserted element. Okay, so as you can see here, so I have inserted an element called A onto the stack. Now my top pointer or the top index points to the newly inserted element. Whenever you will insert one more element, say I have inserted B here. Okay, now the top is incremented. Okay, now the top points to B, not A. Okay, so whenever you pop an element, you have to decrement the top pointer. Okay, for incrementing, what you have to do? For inserting, you have to increment the top pointer. For decrementing or for deleting the element, you have to decrement the top pointer, so that it points to the next immediate element below the current pop element. Okay, right? So that is what shown here. So you can see here, after deleting B, now top is decremented so that it points to the next immediate element below B, that is A. Okay, now the current top of the stack is A, not B, since B is already deleted. Okay, if B is there, that is going to be the top element. Okay, right? So we'll use this top or TOS. Generally we use TOP or TOS, top of the stack. Okay, these are nothing but index variables, or we can say pointers. Okay, which are used to maintain the stack. Okay, so by using top or TOS variable, we can know the statistics of stack. What is the current element, or how many elements are there? Okay, those things you can you can know by probing into this variable, like what is the current position of top, are they how many elements are there in the stack, or something like that. Those things we will see while we are writing the programs. Okay, so next comes the implementation of stacks. Okay, so how to implement the stack? So as I told you earlier, generally any data structure can be implemented by using arrays and linked lists. So you're already familiar with arrays. Okay, linked list that we will see in the subsequent classes, right? So as of now, we will see the arrays implementation. Okay. In arrays implementation, what happens is like I think you're already familiar with arrays. Array is nothing but it is a what you call that, homogeneous. Yeah, it is something like contiguous memory locations in which we are going to store homogeneous elements. It's a collection of homogeneous elements. Homogeneous elements stored in contiguous locations, one after the other in memory. Okay, array is a collection of homogeneous elements stored in contiguous locations. Okay. Now, if you want to use arrays to implement your stack data structure, what you have to do is you have to take an array, you have to declare an array of some size, some specified size, say n. Okay, so n could be 10 or n could be 100. Okay, it depends on your requirement, right? So suppose you want to insert, somebody is drawing, I don't know, somebody is drawing on the screen. Hello? Yeah, somebody is drawing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, who is that? Who is doing
Don't
that?
know, sir. Who? I don't know, sir.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Right. Now, in arrays implementation, what happens is we'll take an array. Yeah, this is my array. Say suppose the size of the array is 10, let us assume. So there are 10 cells. Usually array index starts from 0 to n minus 1. Okay. So this is the first index, that is the 0th index. 1, 2, again drawing, somebody is drawing again, n minus 1. Okay, the last index happens to be n minus 1. Okay. So we are considering our array as stack now, right? So we have a restriction while implementing stacks. What we have to do? We have to assume that one end is closed, the other end is open. Okay. So we have to insert or delete the elements only from the open end. Okay. Now, like if you take an array, both ends are open to you. Like either you can insert from the 0th index or you can insert from the n minus 1th index. Okay. If it is a general array, but we are going to put a restriction on this. Okay. So how to do that? So for that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a variable called TOS or top. TOS, top of the stack variable. Okay. Initially, this top of the stack variable points to, okay, it points to -1. What is -1 here? Array index starts from 0. Your top of the stack initially it points to -1. Okay. The location which is just prior to, just before the 0th location. Okay. That is the assumption that we are taking here. Okay. So I have taken a variable called TOS. Okay. The initial value of TOS is -1. -1. Okay. -1 means the location which is prior to 0th location. Okay. We are assuming that our index, our array index starts from 0 to n minus 1. Okay. Now I have taken a variable which points to its earlier location, that is -1. Okay. Right. Now what I'm going to do here is whenever I want to insert a new element into this array, what I'm going to do here is, so initially we have to insert our new element into the 0th location. Okay. So if that is the case, what we have to do, we'll simply increment the TOS. Okay. So whenever I am going to add a new element into the stack or into the array, before adding, I will simply increment the TOS. Okay, top of the stack pointer or the top of the stack index variable, so that it points to the current top of the stack. Okay. So initially, if TOS is -1, If the top of the stack is -1, that is an indication that your stack is empty. Okay, there are no elements in the stack. Okay, if your TOS is -1, that is the initial condition. That is an indication that there are no elements in the stack. Stack is empty. Stack is empty. Okay, so this is what we call underflow. Okay, so if you want to retrieve or if you want to delete
లేదంటే వచ్చేది
an element, okay, yeah, if you want to delete an element from the empty stack, you will get an error. Okay, since there are no elements, you can't delete anything. Okay, since there are no elements in the stack, you can't delete, you cannot perform the delete operation. Okay, so that is what we call underflow of the stack. Okay, so how to check the underflow condition? If the TOS is -1, then we can say stack is empty, we cannot perform the deletion operations. Okay, so there is something contrast to this, that is overflow. Okay, when stack is full, if the stack is completely full means up to n-1 we have inserted elements, let us assume. Okay, and if you are trying to insert a new element, there is no room for the new element. Why? Because we have already reached the maximum size. Okay, so there are no empty locations, okay, left in the stack to insert our new element. Okay, so that is what we call overflow. Okay, how to check the overflow condition? If the current top of the stack points to the max size of the array, max of A, where A is the array name, then we can say stack is overflow. Right? Okay, I hope you understand how we can implement stacks by using arrays. Okay, we'll take an array. Initially we take a pointer or an index variable. That index variable initially points to -1. Okay, if that TOS or the top pointer points to -1, that is an indication that stack is empty. We cannot perform delete operations when stack is empty. Okay, if you want to insert a new element into the stack, what you have to do? We'll simply increment the top of the stack pointer so that it will point to an empty location. Okay, there we'll insert our element. Okay, we'll proceed like that. Okay, like after inserting 5 elements, say 5 elements, 3, 4 and 5 elements, your top of the stack now it points to this position, the 5th element. Okay, after deleting this element, your top of the stack will be decremented so that it points to the 4th element. Okay, after deletion of this element, it points to the next immediate element in the stack. Okay, so this is the current position now, the current top of the stack now. Okay, so if you insert few more elements, say 6 more elements, then your top of the stack points to this point. Okay, so that happens to be the maximum of the stack, the maximum index of the stack. Okay, if you are trying to insert one more element, so there is no room for that element. Okay, that leads to overflow. Okay, now if you want to delete an element, all that you can do is you can delete only the top of the stack element. Since you know this pointer or this index variable, all that you need to do is just delete, just you have to write a routine or a function which deletes the current TOS element, current top of the stack element. Okay, so that is how we'll implement the stacks by using arrays. Okay, right? So any doubt up to now? So if you have any queries, you can ask me. It's almost 1 o'clock. Yeah. So let me clear all my drawings. Yeah. Yes. So just now we have seen. So this is the array implementation. We need to declare an array size ahead of time. Associated with each stack is top of stack, that is TOS. Okay, that is TOS, top of the stack. For an empty stack, set top of the stack to -1. Okay. While inserting, what I have to do? Increment top of the stack by 1 and set stack of top of the stack equals to X, where X is the newly inserted element. So suppose if you want to insert X, where we need to insert X into this position, stack of top of stack, the current position of top of stack. Okay, so it points to an empty location. Into that empty location we are inserting this new item, that is X. So for pop operation, set return value of stack or top of the stack. Okay, that will give you the current top of the stack. Okay, if you decrement it, then it points to the next element, the next top of the stack element. Okay, right? So when it comes to array implementation, these operations are performed in very fast constant time. Okay, so if you want to perform either push operation or pop operation, it will take only order of 1 or a constant time. Okay, right? So within no time we can perform push and pop operations. Why? Because the top of the stack is always exposed to us. We know that the current top of the stack. If you want to insert a new element, all that you need to do is just increment the current top of the stack so that it will point to the new empty location. There we are going to insert a new element. If you want to retrieve or delete, just decrement the current top of the stack and delete the element. Okay, so these two operations can be performed very efficiently if you use array implementation. Right? So let me take you to the next next slide. So this is how we'll implement stacks in C++ by arrays implementation of stacks in C++. Since you are not aware of C++, I am just skipping this. Yeah, this is linked list implementation. Yeah, these are the applications, as somebody asked. These are the applications of the stacks. You can note down balancing symbols. Okay, symbol balancing to check that every right brace or bracket and or parenthesis must be correspond to its left counterpart. That is, here you can see there is a square bracket, open square bracket, followed by open parenthesis, followed by close parenthesis, followed by close square bracket. It is legal, but this second one is illegal. Why? Because there is a close bracket, open bracket followed by open brace. Open brace should be followed by close brace. Okay, this is illegal. Okay, this is not balanced. Okay, this is what we call symbol balancing. So symbol balancing can be done by using stacks. Okay, as I already explained in the earlier. Okay, this is the algorithm. Make an empty stack, read characters until end of file. If the character is an opening symbol, push it onto the stack. If it is a closing symbol, then if the stack is empty, report an error. Otherwise, pop the stack. If the symbol popped is not the corresponding opening symbol, then report an error. At the end of file, if the stack is not empty, report an error. Okay. After completely processing the input, if the stack is empty, then we can say it is a valid. All the symbols are balanced. Otherwise, we'll report an error. Okay, this is how the algorithm works, right? So another popular application of stacks is postfix evolution or postfix expression evaluation. Okay, so there is something called postfix expression. There are three types of expressions actually: infix, postfix, and prefix. Okay, in infix, what happens is like infix is something like this: 2 plus 3. Okay,
Sir,
yeah.
sir, class is up to 12:40, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay. So, okay, we'll stop here and we'll continue in the next
Sir,
class.
could
Yeah.
you please share that PPT, sir?
Sure, sure. Everything will be given to you. I will share all the PPTs as well as the course material also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? We'll stop here and we'll continue in the next class. If you have any doubts, we'll spare 5 minutes. If you have any doubt, you can,
Okay,
you can post your doubts or your queries in chat box so that I can attempt, I can give my answers. So if you have any doubt, you can ask now. Yeah, you can type your question in the chat box. You can ask your, you can text me, or you can unmute your mic and you can speak. No problem. Either way, you can ask. Is it clear, everyone, up to now? Are you facing any problem? Yeah, somebody asked.
clear, sir.
Yeah, 560. Sir, can we pop out the required element with popping out the tops? Only the top element is exposed. If you want to pop the middle element, or if you want to delete the middle element from the stack, it is not possible. Okay. So if you want to delete the middle element, all that you need to do is first you need to remove the top elements above that middle element. Okay, then only it is exposed. That is why it is called linear. Last in first out. Only the last element is deleted first.